So as the movement's developing, what's Mother Sarah doing? What's she busy with? Here's an account of a Talmidah, which kind of sums it up. There's some seating issue going on in the school. Suddenly the door opened and Frau Schenirer entered. Even today, I picture her vividly as she walked to the left-hand corner of the room and sat down in a whole chair that two girls offered her. She was tired. She had just come from the railroad station after a week of traveling from town to town, visiting Beis Yaakov schools, talking to the children, asking them questions, and complimenting them on their achievements. How they loved these visits. Most of all, however, she came to visit the young teachers, bolster their morale, help them with their problems, and give them new teaching materials that she had prepared. Her shoes were dusty, her clothes wrinkled. She placed her heavy black briefcase on the floor. I see her closing her eyes. She cannot keep them open. She's exhausted, yet she came. Not to give a lecture, not even to teach a class. She came to her Benos girls just to join them for Rosh Chodesh evening, to listen to them and take pride in their accomplishments. She opens her eyes from time to time, not only to listen, but to see her dear children. And she didn't have any children of her own. These were her children. Now that the speech and the recitations are over, the girls start singing and dancing. She joins in, steps into the circle. Never mind her deep exhaustion. She's there full of joy and vigor, joining the girls in dance and song. Now she sings V'tar Libeinu, purify our hearts. With the girls, hand outstretched and face uplifted, she turns to Hashem. Oh God, purify our hearts so we can serve you in truth. She dances with us and sings, but it's not a song, it's a prayer, it's a tefillah. Now she sings it in Yiddish, imploring to keep our hearts pure. Years passed, the writer says, years of pain, torture, and agony in Auschwitz. There were times when we were so cruelly beaten. Again, Sarah Schenirer is long dead. This is the Talmidah writing. We couldn't even say Tehillim. I couldn't recall the lessons I had learned. But one thing stood out. The sight of Frau Schenirer with her outstretched arms and uplifted face, singing and praying and begging Hashem, V'tar Libeinu. That image stayed with this young writer her whole life through the most terrible tsaris that mankind knew. And so that's what she was doing, giving chizuk, seeing the girls, spreading her joy and love. She found time to visit almost every Beis Yaakov school in Poland. Another typical anecdote, which again, the anecdotes give a picture for what was happening. The girls, in another context, in another place, were again singing. It sounds like that was a favorite song, V'tar Libeinu, purify our hearts. And Sarah Schenirer thanked them for the presentation. They made a little skit or something. Tell me, girls, you just sang V'tar Libeinu. What midah will best help you purify your hearts? Yireh Shamayim, Chesed, be nice to your friends. Respect your parents and teachers. Great ideas. One little girl said nothing. Frau Schenirer turned to her. What do you think? I don't know. You are quite right. Kissing and hugging the girl. You've told the greatest truths. It's man's noblest virtue to say, I don't know. After learning, acquiring, searching, reading all the worthy Svarim, listening to great scholars, drawing from the well of exalted minds, absorbing the wisdom of our Gaonim, trying to emulate, striving to follow their ways. If after all that one can say, I don't know, as humbly and as innocently as you did, that's the highest madrega that can help us achieve a pure heart. And she took great delight in the success of her young teachers. And it shows something about her character here, that when we mentioned Judith Rosenbaum, who became Judith Grunewald, that she was phenomenally successful right away. She was brilliant. I think she was also beautiful. And she had Klila Milas, great personality, all that. And as sometimes happens in institutions, she was worried that perhaps she would be stepping on Sarah Schneer's toes. And this is a concern of hers. And then she would see how Sarah Schenirer totally lit up with joy by seeing how the girls loved her, Judith Rosenbaum. And she realized that this person was a different type of person. She said about her, she has no Yetzer Hara. She doesn't have that whole side of kina, which is written by great people, not small people, that they're bothered by such things. And it's difficult. Shaul HaMelech, part of his downfall was when he heard the maidens singing about his accomplishments and the greater accomplishments of David. So that's what she was doing. Fundraising, not just for Beis Yaakov. She's fundraising for individuals. She didn't forget the Yechidim. As she's making a movement, she had her mind there also. And as much as obviously everything is circling around her, and she's the center of it all, she stays as possible in the shadows. This is what someone named Binyamin Sussman said about her after she passed away. What can I write about her? I cannot laud her for great midas, her dedication, her love for every human being, and her exceptional caring. She would be angry of me. She would never prove it. She always stayed in the shadows, never wishing to be in the limelight. Even at her most festive moment, the groundbreaking ceremony for a seminary building, the realization of lengthy years of toil, she stayed in the shadows, hiding among her students. How can I write about the multitude of great deeds that she performed, using me as her emissary, sworn to secrecy? I remember 5 years ago, I visited her one afternoon. She was learning Mishnayos, probably Pirkei Avos for her father's soul. It's good that you're here. Before you tell me why you came, please help me understand this Mishnah. I explained what I thought the difficulty was, and I forgot the purpose of my visit. Sometimes I would visit her to share personal problems. She asked me to help personal endeavors. You sent me, he said, to clarify this Mishnah. And she says how she liked yard sites, etc. So this is the type of person that she was. She was busy till 3 a.m. writing letters, tired to the nth degree, being mechazik, guiding, teaching, keeping things moving, staying in the outskirts of things, in the shadows. And maybe that's why she was so successful. When you try to take credit for yourself, so then things don't work as well. When you stay in the shadows, amazing things happen.